Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming out this evening to celebrate the life of one of the most amazing people perhaps we all have ever known, Mr. Don Cloud. It was funny walking outside. I saw so many different people from Don's life, from different areas that he worked in or taught school in, and just by show of hands, I'm going to go down some of these lists and see if we can see what groups are here, or maybe groups I've missed. From Citrus College, do we have people who knew Don from Citrus College? Obviously, the people who partied with Don at Citrus College. Just saying. The Birdcage Theater. That's a whole nother party. The Imagination Machine. Fairplex. Thumber, sweet, that's good. Okay. The City of Rancho Cucamonga Act Troupe. Chaffey College.
Just kidding.
Yeah, Don always said he never really had a good time there anyway, so. How about Roland High School? We obviously have no control over this class. I'm sure of that. Is there any other groups that I'm missing? Anyone that...
Cal Poly!
Cal Poly! Hello. Anybody else?
Murder mystery.
That's City of Rancho, that's part of it. Oh, the murder mystery! You did it, you remember, you did it. From where? La Fetra Elementary School. Anybody else?
Summer theater.
Summer theater at Citrus College, yes.
Childhood friends.
Ooh.
Childhood friends.
Childhood friends. Oh, well, yes, childhood friends. And family members. Well, anyway, thank you all. As you can see, Don affected many people. Once you met Don, you instantly fell in love with Don. He was a part of your life, whether you wanted him or not. He was a great guy, and he's just a rare person that comes along in your life one time, and we will miss him greatly. Anyway, starting off this evening, there was a Beehive troupe coming in, but their bus got held up at the border, so they can't come into the country. So we're going to start this evening with Mr. Tim Tedrow, who knew Don back at Citrus many moons ago. And Tim is going to... Oh, well, a couple moons ago. Do you want to speak up?
I actually met Don in 5th grade. You don't need to know how old we were. But when I first met Don, I thought he was this just kind of goofy kid. And over the last 42 years, he proved it. And continued to prove it, even in the hospital in the last few months. Why I was asked to speak first? I was told that we were doing this in chronological order, so. I've known him the longest of the people that were involved in the last few months, I guess. I just have a couple of anecdotes I want to mention that proves the kind of person that Don was. If you were looking at the video up there, you saw a photo of a group of Roman soldiers. I was one of those. I was the bearded one right next to him. We were in a production of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. They expected us to dance. And it's a good thing it was a comedy. That's about all I can say about that. And, we've both been musicians for pretty much all of our lives. Interestingly enough, the only time we ever actually played together was for a production of The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. He had been hired to put together a band for it. And he didn't ask me to audition, he asked me to be in the band. So that made me feel real good about that. And that's about all I have to say. We picked out a couple of songs. Actually, my wife mostly picked out a couple of songs that we thought would be kind of right up Dom's alley. Whatever the reason, we had to leave and take our story down the road, looking for something they call a dream. A piece of us stayed home. Whatever the reason, we said goodbye to those we knew we'd always love. They were the seasons that passed us by. Now the stars above. And if it's wrong, I think we'll know it. If it's right, we'll learn to fly high above the ones who only said it cost too much just to try. Whatever the reason, the time had come to give it up and start anew. Nothing has happened, no will be done to take the place of you. You will shine in the morning, in our hearts all through the day. Oh, and if the darkness comes and stays too long, the thought of you will light the way. Remember the daylight that came too soon and signaled us upon our way. All of the feelings that made this tune were present on that day. And if it's wrong, I think we'll know it. If it's right, we'll learn to fly so high above the ones who only could say it cost too much just to try. Whatever the reason, we had to leave and take our story down the road, looking for something they call a dream. A piece of us stayed home. Whatever the reason, has their own idea of who Don was and where he fit into your life. So take it for what it is. Yeah. Okay, let's start that again. Walk with me down by the river. Listen to the wind in the trees. The moon starts to rise. Look into my eyes and tell me the things that you see. Lay by my side in the moonlight. Try to count the stars in the sky. I feel your heartbeat, taste your lips so sweet. The world sings us a lullaby. Suddenly it occurs to me, looking at you I find paradise lies in the depth of your eyes. Stay with me now till the morning. Linger all night in my arms. Give me your love. Let the moon up above be the witness to all of your charms. Let this night last forever, never to fade into day. Give me your lips in one lingering kiss, and the memory will never fade away. And every time that I see you, looking at you I will find paradise lies in the depth of your eyes. Paradise lies in the depth of your eyes.
One of the things I loved about Don Cloud was his fearlessness. I remember doing shows at Citrus College, and he was kind of new to doing shows. And he would be thrown into these big chorus numbers in Hello Dolly, and Guys and Dolls, George M. And you know, it's kind of tricky stuff. You gotta do coffee grinders and cartwheels and backflips, and he just threw himself in these numbers with wild abandon, didn't care if he fell on his ass. He got up and he got it. He was quite coordinated, but he was just fearless, and I love that about him. Speaking of fearless, one of Don's closest friends, perhaps I'll call him Don's sister, other sister, Marcia Swayze is here.
I would tell you exactly when I met Don Cloud, but that would be really hard. I know it was at Citrus. I know it was in the theater. All I really know is that he was there, I was here, we were here, and forever after, we were friends. Don could do that with people. He just had that way about him. We had some very good times together, times that I really shouldn't tell anybody about. John should blush too, because he was usually with us.
That's not bad now.
If you offer me money, I'll give you details. Anyway, Donnie and I have been friends for almost 32 years. We've played together, we've done theater together, both backstage and on stage. I was also in Funny Thing Happens in the Way the Forest, and I also was required to dance. And if you saw the show and you listened really well, you could hear Donnie in the back giggling, because I could couldn't dance at all. But like I said, we played together, we lived together on more than one occasion. He helped me raise my child and help her to be who she is today, along with other people who are here. And sometimes we didn't see each other for a year, maybe 2. And then I'd call him or he'd call me, and it was like we talked yesterday. There was never a break, because with Donnie there never was. When he loved you, he loved you. And that was all that really mattered. And I think that all of you out here are really lucky to have been part of his life. And he was really lucky to have been part of yours as well. Because you don't find friends like Donnie anymore. Or if you do, you're really lucky. So, hope you enjoy the show, and thank you.
Do not give her money. Ever. Give it to me, I'll tell you the story. Anyway, this next number is from the alumni from Roland High School.
Everybody, my name is Maurice Beltran. It's really amazing to see how everybody, people I knew that were friends with Don that I had no idea were friends with Don. Yeah, it's just crazy. He taught at my high school, and you know, he pulled people from tennis, from cheer, from band, from football, basketball. But he made choir more than just a choir. He made us a family, and that's just one thing that I'm sure everyone here will take from this with us.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me never before has someone did more. Unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Thinks that I am unforgettable
He obviously was a good teacher because they still remember their parts. That's pretty good teaching. Really good teaching. One of the things I loved most about Don was his patience. To work with young people of all ages, anybody actually, people 99, you could be patient with them too, I suppose. But a show I was doing with Don called 100 Million Miracles. It was an original show, yes, it was an original show that Don and I put together for the city of Rancho Cucamonga, featuring all Rodgers and Hammerstein songs in this huge show. Anyway, there was this one actress who I was having difficulty with, and I was quite at the end of my rope, and I was livid. At the end of the rehearsal, I went to Don and I said, Don, what the hell are we gonna do with her? She can't remember her blocking. She's making me crazy. We gotta get rid of her. And he says, John, simmer down. Relax. She'll get it. If she doesn't, don't worry. She's 10. It's true. Yeah. He always put things into perspective, which I love to. Anyway, now is a very close friend of Don's, Mr. Robert Service.
I was asked to give a little story, and I had lots of stories to choose from, but the one that means the most to me was I met Don 30 years ago. I was 15. I was in a Citrus College summer production of Tin Pan Alley, and it was the first show I'd ever done. And I met him. He was the piano player, and he was great. He was very dear to me, and during that year, I learned a lot about myself, and I came out of the closet. And in high school, I was in 10th grade, and my high school counselor told my parents, because I was having a lot of trouble just going to school, and my parents didn't take it so well, and I had a bag packed for me when I came home, and I had choices. I could not be gay and do what I was told, or I could take the bag and get out. And so at that age, I took the bag and I got out, and I was remembering, where was I going to go, you know? I was 15, I didn't drive, and I walked over to Don Cloud's house, and he lived with Marcia at the time, and I was invited in, and I lived with them until I could learn to be fearless. And I moved out of my house when I was 15 and in with Don Cloud, and we lived together, Marcia, Don, and I, until I could get on my feet, and I got a job, and I lived periodically with Don for the next 7 years, off and on. His house was my house was his house, more his house was my house, actually. But I learned something about life, and that is that family is found everywhere, you know? Your friends are your family, and that was definitely the case with Don. He was my friend, but he was my family. And I'm just so happy to have had him in my life for 30 years. And I'm 45, and again, that word fearless, I grabbed a hold of that, because that's what it meant for me to learn how to be fearless at such a young age. And I went out there and I did it, and I wanted to be a hairdresser. I wanted to be a dancer and an actor, but that didn't really work out for me. So I have been a hairdresser since I was 17, and I own my own shop in San Francisco, and most of the blonde hair that you see on Don in the pictures. If you're lucky enough or blessed enough, whatever you want to say, to have friends like Don Cloud that come into your life, you know, playing the piano in a show. I'm sure that's how we met him quite often, all of us. Treasure them. I treasure it so much. And I have tons and tons of memories and friends and actually family of 30 years, you know, that are are strong, just as strong today as they were 30 years ago. So, thank you. I'm really happy to be here and share this with you.
Another quality of Don's that I loved was his determination.